Hello there, I'm Michael Purser of Rosebud Company in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're back where every woodworker wants to be, and that's at Highland Woodworking. It too is located here in Atlanta, and if you're ever in the city, by all means, put it at the top of your list. If you're not, then you want to go to www.highlandwoodworking.com. We're going to be talking today about an option that I have been working on for over 20 years, and it's known as passive refinishing. For those who know me and have been to my website, I have an absolute passion for older houses. And long ago I realized that one of the most destructive things that could happen to an old house is for a wood flooring contractor like myself come in there and use traditional sanding equipment, and then all of a sudden you've lost a substantial amount of the original material. So I decided, again, over 20 years ago, that I wanted to come up with a better option. And that is the driving force behind what is now known as passive refinishing. Passive refinishing is a process where I come in and I take the surface accumulations only off the floor. We get it off without aggressive sanding, without any loss of original material. Now, those surface accumulations can be any number of materials. Because one of the things that I've learned about old houses, people are not at all afraid of dumping just gunk on those floors. You can have finishes down there, you can have waxes, you can have materials that were patched or try and blend things in. And what I'm seeing an awful lot of are maintenance products. Because homeowners get to the point where they just literally are throwing up their hands, and so they go out and start bringing in maintenance products that really aren't designed to be used on wood floors. They're desperate to try and get the floors to look better, but in most cases it does not work. And as we found out and have seen in any number of situations, it will actually contribute to the deterioration of the floors. So we go after that, and again we're taking it off and it off only. We leave the wood intact. There's no loss of wood with passive refinishing. We're avoiding the traditional sanding because we know what will happen. So we get down to the bare wood, it's clean, and now you can treat it just like you would if you had sanded it. But the important thing is you didn't, and you still got that wood intact. Now that's important, especially if you don't have much original material left. It's also important because in many cases an older wood floors acquires a certain look buried underneath all of that surface accumulations that people would literally die for. So I found safe, non-hazardous material. We put it on the surface, we manipulate it, and we get the old coatings to come off, and there before you is a 100, 200, 250-year-old floor, and it's in pristine condition.
So, to get an appreciation for just what passive refinishing can accomplish, come with me to a recent restoration project in Virginia. Our job site is a house with floors that date back to 1815 and the 1880s. Like any house that old, it has already lost much of its original material from aggressive sanding. The first order of business is to visit the home and do an on-site inspection and sampling to make sure our products will remove the old finish and surface accumulations. That way, we know we have a surface that will respond well to passive refinishing. We do the sampling in various locations because we often find that some rooms were refinished at different times. Once we've determined passive refinishing will remove the products on the floor, we get busy. The cleaning and stripping products we use are safe, environmentally sound, and do not create hazardous byproducts or hazardous work conditions. We do not work with any products containing methylene chloride. We apply the cleaning products and then manipulate them to determine how to sequence the work. Years of experience have taught us that the timing and sequencing of the equipment may vary from one room to the next based on what is on the floor, so this is a critical first step. When we get our steps properly sequenced, we start making good headway. Most of the time, the wood is in excellent shape and condition. As someone who has worked on thousands of wood floors, it never fails to amaze me how much wood can endure and still retain its natural beauty. I also enjoy the fact that when you treat an old floor this way, you retain the look of an aged wood. The natural aging of the surface that has taken place over the years isn't carried out in a bag of dust because the floor has been aggressively sanded. It helps to maintain a look that complements the interior of an older home. Once the floors have gone through the initial cleaning, there are several additional steps to help prep the surface. There's detailed work to be done around the perimeter. We always take great pains to make sure adjacent surfaces are protected and not damaged during our work. This is also a good time to spend working on stairs, as they tend to be very labor intensive. Now, this is my younger brother David, and he is more than qualified for this chore. He and my older brother Howard were both involved in our work on James and Dolly Madison's Montpelier. Now that the prep work is completed, we get the floor ready for the application of finishes. What's nice about passive refinishing is that you have the same finishing options as if the floor had been aggressively sanded. The biggest difference is you just haven't lost a lot of wood. In this particular case, we're using natural vegetable-based oil that is buffed into the surface. The owners felt that this would be the closest product to resemble what was done to the floors 140 years ago. This will provide excellent protection and enhance the color of the old wood as the oil is applied. One of the most satisfying parts of our work on these old properties is to compare the way the floors looked at the beginning with the final results. We have treated the wood with the same respect you would have treated fine antiques. The wood is left intact and well protected. You now have a surface that is far more homogeneous with the look and feel of an older home.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your trip to Alexandria and the work we did on the Flounder House. It was a lot of fun, and I think you got to see firsthand exactly what passive refinishing is capable of, and that is the removal of all surface accumulations without the traditional aggressive sanding that destroys so much of the wood floor. We got it all off. We didn't create a hazardous environment. We didn't create hazardous materials. And now you're looking at a floor that's over 100 years old and looks every bit as good as it did 100 years ago when it was installed. So I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. We've got close to 70,000 square feet of wood floors that have been restored. There have been some people who've tried to imitate it, but we've been able to do it and do it very, very successfully. And I would encourage you to go to my website. It's www.rosebudfloors.com, and look at some of our projects. I got a lot of written material there, some other digital images that you can look at. And once again, I appreciate the opportunity to sit down and talk with you about how to preserve, protect, and enjoy your wood floors. Good day.